Hello, I can't hear you.
There we are. How about now? How about now?
Good, yes, thank you.
Okay,
Good
there
morning.
we are. And let me shut. I just noticed it's a little bright here. Sorry about that.
All righty, no, it's okay. Good morning.
There we are. Good morning to you.
Oh, I had a real nice few days. I hope you did.
Yeah, yeah. Well, beating back perps and all that.
Yeah,
Um,
and all that, he says.
and all that. I just saw. I didn't have a chance to open up anything other than I saw your cans.
Oh,
Your
yeah, yeah.
drawings.
I did canning yesterday. I had
Oh,
a pretty calm week.
well, isn't that a nice thing?
Yeah, what did I do Wednesday? Oh shoot, I forgot to post yesterday. I'll have to do that today. Um, but yeah, Wednesday I posted and then created a couple of videos and got some stuff organized for future stuff. And then Thursday I was like, well, do I want to sit down and do videos? What do I want to do? And I thought, no, I don't want to can all those tomatoes. I had like, I don't know, 8 gallons of frozen tomatoes that I've picked over the past 2 or 3 months. And so I spent probably 12 hours doing that yesterday.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. And also in that day and the day before, God was having me smash some more of my stones, just a few. Because
Oh,
they were graven images. Because I finished Deuteronomy and Joshua. Is that the book before Joshua, I think?
yes. Uh-huh. Mhm.
Yeah. So I know. And as I was canning, I finished Deuteronomy and all of Joshua. And I'm looking up at these stones going, oh. And one was a cat, one was a dog, a lioness,
Mm,
an
okay.
owl, different things. And he's like, you got to smash them.
Oh,
He's like,
okay.
keep the stones, but you got to smash them. So I did that. And then there was 3 others. He's like, well, and I'm like, because one is, it's an angel, but it's not an angel. It's like this kind of vague looking, and it's made out of lapis or labradorite, which as you move it in the sun, it shimmers. And I'm like, but God, it's so beautiful. You made it. It's a reflection of your beauty. And he's like, okay. So he had me go around the house and he said, we're going to baptize them. You know,
Okay. Okay.
cleanse them, baptize them, whatever. So I was thinking about doing it in the tub. He's like, no, the kitchen sink will be fine. And he goes, just a tiny little bit of soap, a tiny little bit of bleach, which I had thought of the day before, but when I was actually doing, he's now go get some vinegar. And he me pour just a shitload of vinegar in the water. I was like, okay. And so I'd put them in the water and I'd put my hands in the water and I'd say, God, please bless this water and bless these stones. They're your creation. It's a reflection of your beauty, which I want to admire, blah, blah, blah. And so I probably did 30 or 40 different stones. But for some reason, these ones he wanted me to smash. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll do it. Well, they weren't, massively expensive or anything. And then I also had this statue in my bedroom, which over the years I had gotten like, I don't know, 4 or 5 different statues, but over the years I got rid of all except this one. And it was of a man and woman intertwined, and they're naked. You don't really see their genitals or anything, but they're intertwined. And I just always thought it was a beautiful symbol of man and woman coming together. And he's like, no, that's going.
Oh, is that right?
Because when I look at it, I get a sexual vibe off of it, and I think it's like a subtle thing that I never really noticed. I mean, I did, but I didn't kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I smashed that. It was kiss ceramic. Anyway, so
Wow.
I'm doing all this canning. And did you get a chance to read the Iowa thing? I made it kind of chronological. Probably not.
Oh,
We can go
okay.
over it in
Okay.
the
Okay.
journals. But that was after our session that night. I was just laying there and I couldn't sleep. And I kept thinking, well, what came first and second and third? And so I just kind of, once I sat down and dictated it chronologically, and my parts were telling me, no, this is first, second, third, whatever, and put it on paper, then I was able to sleep. And then the next day I did the videos and stuff. And then yesterday I did the canning. But as I'm canning, I'm noticing that my right hip and thigh are just like really super tight. And I kept thinking, well, it's probably because I rode my bike a couple days ago. Well, no, as I'm laying in bed, I start getting these images and another part.
Oh,
Surprise, surprise. Yeah. So I'm trying
oh
to think
my.
of what I should show you first. And it's not, well, I want to say, oh, it's not too terrible, but it is
Of
terrible.
course it's terrible. I'm gonna move this up here.
But oh geez, what did I do here? Oh, so I need to pull out the Iowa thing, so I guess I'll go over that first. And you saw the canning. What else did I want to tell you about? I think I told you everything. Let me get into there. Iowa.
You know, the challenge, the problem is the more you get in touch with your parts, you know, or this process, then whatever
Mhm.
is under the surface, it'll come up. You're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, it's interesting when I get to that new part. It's because I think all the other parts are happy and contented, for the most part. It's like this other part was just kind of, I don't know, it was automatic. It was really strange. Anyway, so 828, okay. So I kept thinking about why my finger hurts, and then I kept thinking about the money that I stole at Mondo's. It makes me wonder if Dave Hughes didn't sexually abuse me
That's
somehow.
the owner. That's the owner of that restaurant.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking, why else would I be having a body memory? So I'm wondering about that. I remembered that when he sat me down to talk to me about why his food cost was so high and that it was based on a percentage of sales, etc., he didn't understand it. Well, Corky came out and lied to him and professed he had no idea what it was. And then Finley pops. She said, because Finley spent the money partying. Dave asked if I thought perhaps someone stole money. Corky thought he was clever and how stupid Dave was. How could Dave not know that the register tapes were torn? And then all of a sudden I remembered he did. In that conversation, he got up and pulled these register, like a container full of them, and was showing me how the register tape, there's a missing portion here. Um, I'm remembering now that he did after I lied to him,
My gosh.
yeah, he came back and showed me some register tapes, confronted me because I was the closing person at those particular times. Well, I stammered. He told me to stay there. He got up to get something. He came back behind me,
Hmm.
grabs my finger unexpectedly, and the next thing I can see is just a pair of vice grips on my knuckle, squeezing my index finger. He was squeezing it to get me to tell the truth. So finally I did. He got angry. He was saying something along the lines of, how could I betray him after he had been so nice to me, gave me a job and provided me with a paycheck, and how could you betray me, steal from me, and lie to me? Corky had an attitude because instead of Dave promoting me to run his store, he chose someone else. So Corky decided to screw him over by ripping off that money. I had spent 4.5 years working my way up, and now I had nowhere to go, no future there. He threw me away for that bitch Brenda, the woman with 30-year-old with children, because she was older and had kids. I had earned it. Brenda had me take care of everything anyway. She just rode my coattails. I knew a hell of a lot more than Brenda. I can do a better job than her, and that's what I told him. And I put Corky as the liar and the thief because I was remembering when I went to Lowe's with those, wanted to switch pots and pay. Anyway, Corky just saw him like, Dad, use me up and throw me away.
Yeah.
He would steal the money as a way to punish Dave. After he squeezed my finger in the vice grips and twisting it and got me to talk, I promised to never steal from him again. I went home. After that, when I went to work, I did not steal anymore. But my front personality, B, who was the one called Worker B, thought it was because I felt bad about it and didn't want to do it anymore, which is partially true. It was because Corky decided he didn't want to be tortured again with those vice grips. And I remember feeling relieved not stealing anymore. Corky says that Dave was a prick anyway. After Debbie got hurt, he made it out like it was my fault that I shouldn't have let her do that. And now he had to spend all his money to upgrade his tables, and his insurance was going to skyrocket. My front personality was just pissed off that he was bitching and moaning that I caused him the problem, which I was wondering, that's B. When it was not my fault at all. I mean, he should have had safe equipment regardless,
That's
is what
right.
I'm thinking. Anyway, so I worked for a few more months after that before I quit to join the army. He did garnish my wages until I quit. So I'm glad I didn't send him more.
That's right.
I think he took half my paycheck until I left. And he may have even paid himself back. I didn't even keep track of it because it was suppressed. So after that, I still couldn't go to sleep, and I thought, well, how did all this lay out? So I'm like, okay, mom divorces dad at 11. We moved to Iowa. I'm the new kid in school. That's Susie, because she's screaming in the middle of the night, going to school full of anxiety. So 12 to 14, she's nervous, screaming in the middle of the night, nervous to go to school and to be in a new town. Then Christine approaches me to be my friend. I start to relax. I have a friend. I still stay over at her house, and her father abuses me. And I remember him asking me, "So you're the new kid in school, huh?" So that was where new kid comes in. Susie said, "Yeah," but she's bashful and shy. He takes me out to the barn in the middle of the night, and Susie gets raped. So Nicola is born, the new kid, Nicola. She is his new kid too, because he said that. So that happens a few times. Nicola is handled by Christine and goes to her house a few times, I think 3. So I think Susie gets put on the shelf because she's, Nicola's there. Christine's there during the day at school, you know. I think 3 times I went
Do
to
you
her house.
remember if the daughter, um,
I was looking for her picture like crazy, Dave Hughes, too. I could find neither one of them. I couldn't even find Christine's husband, Dwayne Adams, who we all went to school with. Couldn't
oh,
find
yeah,
any of them.
you wonder if,
I
so
could
you
find
think,
Dave's restaurant and his name, but no images. No images of Christine, Dwayne, nobody. I couldn't even pull up the 1983 yearbook.
oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so I
But
was
your
like,
hunch is Christine, it was a setup?
yeah, yeah. I mean, whether she was, obviously she was abused by her father, so she had all sorts of splits. So,
Okay.
whatever personality. I just remember after I dropped, well, I'll get to that. So I go to her house 3 times. So then I get a job. B is born, worker B, and I get hit on by customers. So this is 14 to 18. At the
Unbelievable.
restaurant is where I learned about the people in town. People talk as they're eating. This is
Yeah.
how I knew the grandmother of the boy I killed. The other ladies in the restaurant would give her shit about having a defective daughter and grandchild because the daughter's a drug addict and the boy is Down syndrome. So I dropped Christine when I start working. I'm going to 9th grade. She's just fine about it, and I feel bad about it. And I kept wondering, why doesn't she come up to me and say, "What's wrong, Diana? Why aren't you my friend? What's happening?" But none of it. She just was like,
Yeah, and that's how you then know.
it was a matter of course for her.
Yeah,
She knew whether it was
yeah.
a front personality or whatever, it never bothered her that I
She
just,
finished, her job was to be the initiator of new kids in the town.
Yeah, probably.
Keeps her eye out for any new kid in school and then brings him to her dad.
Yeah, and maybe throw a signal or something to see if the
Yeah,
kid
yeah.
responds a certain way. Yeah. Um, so she's just fine about it, and I feel bad about it. I earned money, bought a card, started going out partying. That is Finley, the promiscuous party girl.
And let me ask you, just this thought randomly came to mind here. Um, again, what a perfect way to traffic kids, new kid in town. It's a small town. Do you think the school administration, like the principal or whatnot, are a part of this? And so then they would let the dad know or point out to this girl.
I'm thinking probably. I mean, I don't have any, my parts did not say they don't have any direct information about that, but I was listening to Gray again last night, and he's talking about in small towns, because I've looked up the population again. And it's even less than it was when I lived there. It's like 5,500 right now. It's like 7,000 when I lived there. And Gray's talking about in towns that are that small, he said generally the school counselor is also like the school vice principal, and the groundskeeper is also the gym coach, and he's going on about different positions in town and how generally one person will hold two or three jobs.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, so as you're asking that, I'm thinking, yeah, probably. I'm sure there was stuff going on. So
What more of a strategic position then? I'm thinking about it, right? If these people get positions based upon strategic
yeah,
benefit advantage.
even the school administrator could give a call to say, let's say Christine's mother and her go out to lunch.
And
Oh,
think about
we
on your
got,
transcript. Think about written on your high school.
oh yeah,
So
that's
somebody,
right. Somebody was keeping track of stuff.
there we
Yeah.
go. There we go.
Because how
Okay.
could they know I was going to be in the army for those years? So someone went back and added it 2 years. No, that would have been 4 years after the fact. Yeah,
Oh gosh.
I forgot
See,
all
and,
about that.
and then the question is, why would somebody risk adding that
I know.
to an
What
actual
would be the
transcript?
point on a school transcript to put a notation of the army?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Okay. Okay.
So Finley's born. She's going out partying. She's the one that decided to have sex with my coworker's brother to get that over with so that I'm no longer a virgin. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? The front personality didn't have to pretend anymore and could just be Finley. So at 16, I go to the dentist for braces. I have a tooth pulled, MK Ultra updates. Bella is born. Then 17, Finley gets approached by Jack at the party with that picture. Finley does not know him and brushes Jack off. Then a 21-year-old married man approaches. I didn't know he was married at the time. But Skylar, my part from when I'm like 6, who's taught how to evade and escape, Skylar went on guard, which I'm a little confused because those parts should be suppressed, but for some reason she's not. So Skylar is on guard because Jack just came into our world again.
Yeah. The sound of his
Well,
voice.
well, yeah, and plus Jack was there when the tooth was pulled. So Skylar's,
Uh,
wide awake and going, "What the hell's going on?" So Skylar's on guard for Jack, but will use him, this married man, by Finley seducing him and hiding out at his house for a day or so from Jack. It is Skylar who's trying to evade Jack. The first night, he and Finley are alone and we have sex together. The next day, he leaves to go get some weed. He's gone. Jack comes in and reprograms me.
Unbelievable.
Then he and I spend another night together. Again, next day, he leaves to do something. Then he brings back his wife, her mother, and Jack. And then Jack has Joker kill the boy after the programming tweak the day before. I'll put that on here.
Wow.
I know. That's where Corn was born. And so Corn's telling me she remembers.
Diane, let me ask this.
Mhm.
Okay, so we got to this party. We've got a bunch of teenagers. you're underage, but you know,
Well, I
probably all,
think there was like young 20-year-olds too.
okay, there we
There's
go.
nothing else to do in a small town. There's a
Right?
kegger, everybody shows up. And it's held at someone's house on their
Okay, there we
property.
go. So do you remember, or maybe this will start to jog something. Okay, so we've got Skylar. She's in the room trying to evade Jack, and obviously it's a setup.
Yeah, we're
So,
outside.
so
Yeah.
what was the guy's name who you thought was safe?
I can't think of his name.
Okay,
Get this
but
name.
it would be interesting to find out, since it was a setup, how you ended up finding him, because that's pretty
I think,
artful of
yeah,
Jack,
I
To
think
arrange
I
that.
get the vibe that he maybe was with Jack. That as Jack approached me with this other person, which I think is the guy, and Jack saying, "Oh my gosh, look at this picture. This girl looks so much like you." And I'm looking at it going, "Oh my God, yeah, it does." But and then my front personality is like, "Well, I know it's not me, so it must be some twin or doppelganger in another town," is what I thought up until 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Well, you wonder what was it about if Jack, it's a setup. Jack has this 21-year-old in his um, sphere of influence.
Orbit, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so you wonder what was it about him out of all the people you could have chosen to seek shelter with? It was that guy that so you it'd be
I'm thinking maybe they did a hand signal or something. I'm having a vague recollection of the guy,
so would there be a hand signal that would signal that you're safe to go with him? Meaning he's a safe person?
meaning sex slave. Let's have sex because it's the promiscuous girl he's approaching. And so that's what that Finley would respond to as a signal. Oh, okay.
But when Skylar was seeking out safety,
Yeah, she's trying to evade him.
so if that guy did a hand signal, what do you think Finley overrode Skylar's? So Skylar's, she got the radar system.
Probably, maybe so, yeah. Because I kept thinking, how are these parts talking to each other? They're supposed to be compartmentalized.
So that would make sense if it compartmentalized, because here's Skylar, talk about Sky, right? She's got the radar system up. Her spider senses are up. She's trying to evade Jack. So she goes from the, fire and
Oh, because
right.
Jack was coming to tweak my programming. My programming was breaking down.
Yeah.
He did some in the dentist office, quite a bit, but maybe he missed a piece.
Because to get
That's
the,
just what popped into my
okay,
head.
because Skylar's on high alert. Skylar's trying to get away. She's seeking safety and she runs right into the spider web. So that's what's
Mhm.
curious to me.
So Finley probably overrode Skylar.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
Skylar got
Yeah.
back seated then.
Yeah. And Finley's saying, oh, well, we'll get away from Jack by going with this guy because it's
Okay.
just going to
Okay.
be sex.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. And so it's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll just go fuck him, have a good time and whatever. Because Finley didn't think she'd be there for 2 days.
Yeah.
She just thought she was going to have a one night stand and go home. But winds up staying there.
So somehow that
Yeah.
guy was standing in close proximity to Jack. I'm just
Yeah,
surmising
I think
Finley
so.
looks.
I didn't know either one of them. Yeah. And I think I thought that he was like 18 or 19. I didn't know he was 21 till I was at his house. So I found out he's, oh no, I'm 21, blah, blah, blah. I've got a wife, whatever. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not cheating. You're the one cheating. You're married. I'm not. So Finley's rationalizing having sex with
Oh
him.
yeah, I mean she's whatever age, 16 at this time, 17. Um,
I'm thinking you're the one sinning, not me.
yeah. Um, okay, so I was just curious, meaning she's avoiding, evading, trying to escape Jack, but runs into I mean, talk about a setup.
The very person that would ensnare her. Yeah.
Right. So that's it's quite something on the part of Jack to have arranged that. And when
Yeah,
Skylar's
I'm having a recollection of Jack after he pulls out the picture and puts it back in his pocket, putting his arm around the guy and saying, you ought to get to know this guy. He's a really good guy. He's a this, he's a that, you know? And I was like, oh, really? And I think that's when the hand signals came in. And then my sexual slave part
okay,
started
okay.
waking up.
So Skylar was overridden.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Are you tapping into Skylar? Does Skylar?
Yeah, no, as you're talking about it, I'm thinking you're right because Skylar was trying to evade him, but Finley took over.
I wonder, is Skylar frustrated with Finley over that?
She's saying yes.
Okay, there we go. Now that would be interesting. Now let me just say this, right? I just thought, practically speaking, then Skylar might want to do some venting, a TED Talk at Finley, but let me qualify that. But Finley it's just to get it out, as
Oh,
we know.
yeah,
Just like,
yeah.
right,
They,
there you
they
go. There you
understand.
go.
They
And
understand. Yeah.
and okay, there we go. So that just to get that out of the way between Finley and
That never dawned on me. The only thing I kept thinking was, how was Skylar there at all? She was suppressed. It's compartmentalized.
yeah,
And
because
she's saying,
ultimately,
no, the program was breaking down. That's what Jack was tweaking.
yeah, see, that makes sense. So in a way, and it'll work itself out once the venting can take place. But the way to reframe it is Finley was then seeking safety. So before Finley knows it, it's like we just got to get away from Jack.
Skylar is seeking safety. Finley just wants to have a one night stand.
Oh,
The Jack and the guy are using the sex slave signals to get Finley activated or more activated.
but as Finley, I mean, think about it. There were a bunch of choices she could have had while at that party.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
why choose that guy?
because of the signals.
Do you remember what was going on for Finley? Yeah, sorry about that, but it's interesting.
Um, I think the guy that had slept with Angie a year prior had slept with me two or three times and then dropped me. And so I think I was feeling pissed off because I was tossed away.
Okay.
Because
So
there
again,
was a part of me enjoying fucking my sister over, even though I wasn't, but you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I think Finley was, and that guy that Angie and I both slept with was probably part of whatever was going on too.
Okay. See that it makes so
Because
do you
why
think
would a
Finley,
guy do that? You know, a guy with morals and ethics. Oh, I was with your sister. Ooh, let me have you too.
well,
Most people,
he has no morals and ethics.
well, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
he, got to that place somehow. So he was probably, maybe Jack said, okay, stop playing with her now, blow her off. I need to introduce someone else.
Yeah. And I
Maybe
think that's
maybe that guy was a handler for Angie and me as
okay.
well.
There you go. So that would be like a Bill Clinton kind of thing, just using women going through them for a purpose.
Yeah, yeah, and he gets to notch his bedpost and
Okay, there we go. There we
be
go.
a
Okay.
badass and with his friends or whatever. Yeah.
It just adds to the degree of sophistication
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of a survivor,
And then
especially.
the coordination of
See,
it all.
that's
It's
right. It's
well,
just
and when I get
unbelievable.
to the end of this, I was
Okay.
mind blown at the
Okay, I'll sit
coordination.
down. I'll be quiet now, but it's just,
Yeah.
oh,
So,
okay, okay.
so we kill the boy, and that's where Corn was born. Corn remembered that boy had a cornfield pattern all over his bedding in his room, in the same way someone might have Iron Man right now. So it's like this corn stuff all over the place. So I thought it was from sitting at the cornfields, but no, it was from his bedroom theme. So after Jack and I leave, and I think I'm alone, but he follows me and finds corn sitting at the cornfield crying and reprograms me, does his little thing. That's where I turned back into Finley and went home and got bitched out. My sisters called me a slut. Meanwhile, at the same
Diana,
time,
sorry for interrupting again. Let's go back to the cornfield thing.
Mhm.
I had another survivor that she started having a panic attack as she went to school out in, oh gosh, Illinois. Anyways,
Yeah, big
uh,
corn country there too.
okay, she's in a car with her friends. They're at college break, starts to pass by cornfields. She starts to have a panic attack. A part of her was threatened that she could be buried in a cornfield and never found.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me.
Do you think there's anything? So this kid has bedding of corn.
Well, I mean, where else? Drop someone down 4, 6 feet and then just put corn over it.
Do you know how they
Or the next.
disposed of, were you involved in? Do you know how they disposed of the little boy's body?
No, no, I think it was done the normal way because people in
Oh, okay.
town knew
Okay, that
that
makes sense.
boy.
Right. Okay. So
You
it
know,
appeared he would have just,
oh, he was Down syndrome, he was malnourished, he was this, he was that, whatever. Just, I'm sure the coroner might have been the police chief too, or
okay, there you go.
something.
That makes sense,
So,
right? Somebody swept it under the carpet. I got you.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, so my sister called me a slut. Meanwhile, the same time period, Bella is born at the dentist getting program. Finley's promiscuous and partying. Debbie gets hurt at work. Dave does not promote B. Corky's stealing. Corn's doing a mercy killing. So
Yeah.
this is like all at the same time,
Right.
in like
Unbelievable.
months. So I remember it was the Air Force guy at school that tried to recruit me. Finley goes out cruising with her friends. Correction, I had only one friend in that car of 5 people. I didn't know the other three. They were her friends. It was Sherry Bueller. That was the girl,
Oh, look at that last name.
what, like
That's close to
Ferris
my last
Bueller?
name, Bueller.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. Sorry, I just noticed
No,
that. Yeah.
that was the girl pissed off that I seduced that adult photographer and she didn't get to have him. It was a
Oh,
setup. That's when Ophelia was born. Sherry got the whole town to ostracize me. So no way I want to stay in this town anymore, right? So, but still I have to figure out what to do for my future, battery factory or meat packing plant, but
wow.
no Air Force because of this situation. I'm distraught and talk to mom about it. She tells me there's other branches of the military. I realize, duh, try the army. I think Jack set that up so I would get a record so that I would not get into the Air Force. And based on my programming, I would have to choose another branch of the military. Of course, the Marines would be out for a girl in 1983. It was unheard of. And the Air Force was now out. My IQ would have qualified me for that. So that only left the military. That must be where he wanted me to go. Remember all this time I kept thinking that my trajectory was for the Air Force and then
Yeah.
I had outsmarted him and went into the Army instead. No, he outsmarted me and set up all these scenarios for me to funnel into there. And based on my program, okay. They always wanted me in the background to do their dirty work, to don't stand out at all. So I'm thinking if I was in the Air Force, I might have gone a different way, or they might have presented me with something other than what Jack wanted. Because my whole life, I mean, even at parties, I was never the out front dancing loud powder girl. I was the one, can I help you take care of the food and the this and the that, or at holiday gatherings, I helped with the dishes and the cleanup or whatever. I was always the background person. And Nathan Reynolds talks about that too. In his world, he was trained to never stand out, never draw attention to himself, never excel. Right. And so I think I had the same type of thing, stay in the background. And I think maybe in the Air Force that might have not happened. Anyway, so Finley decided to join the Army instead of factory work, as I think Finley is the front person now.
Yeah.
Everything funneled me into the Army. Finley turns into Gemma in basic training, because basic training is pretty much of a trauma. So Gemma's the party sexual promiscuous girl in Germany. So that was a real aha going, oh my goodness, Jack coordinated that whole thing. Because I kept thinking, why was I in that car with Sherry if that thing with that photographer happened? And I think she called me and lured me out to say, oh, I'm sorry I did all that. Why don't you come out with me and my friends and let's try and make up kind of thing. And I think I was out there and with her and in this car with these people drinking, and I wasn't drinking. I don't think she was drinking, but they were. And that wound up on my record, and the Air Force wouldn't have that.
Ah,
So I think, and yeah, after that, she blew me off again. So it's
okay.
all just a big snare.
She
Yeah.
fulfilled her obligation.
Hmm. And
Accomplished
her
her.
family was a well-known, important family in the town
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So the next night I have this, uh, I have, was it the next night or that next morning? I think it was the next morning. So I dreamt this morning about being at a gathering. There was a baby there, and I picked up the baby and I held and played with it for hours. I was very joyful. She and I enjoyed each other for hours. I loved her, hugged her, I kissed her, and played with her. There was a little mess up where I sat her down on the table and she leaned backward and her shoulders and neck kind of went off the side of the table. But I realized and picked her back up. But everything was okay. And I remember everyone looking, but no one getting concerned or upset or freaked out. I'm sure if the baby had hit the floor, it would have been different, but they're kind of like, let's see if she's okay. She's got it. Okay. Everyone's looking. Nobody said anything. No one got anxious. I just picked her up and loved her again. It was about 10 minutes after that, a woman was looking and I could tell she wanted to play with the baby. So I sat her down and then the woman picked her up and played with her and then I woke up. And I remember thinking, oh, that's lovely. What a lovely dream. I just got to love on this baby for hours and hours and hours in my dream. It was really sweet. Just walking around the party, talking to everybody. And it was like a half a day. Well, actually, a little bit after when I wrote this, I realized, was that the parts puddle? A morning parts puddle? I was dreaming all my parts, and we're at this,
Ah,
place having a thing, and everybody, and I'm holding on to this baby. And I kept thinking, well, which baby was it? Because I have four. But I couldn't figure it out. And I thought, well, that's okay. I was loving on the baby. Um, and then this showed up last night. Let me make this a little bigger. Oops. So 8:30, I'm laying down to go to sleep. And now it's like 8 o'clock and I'm just really tired going, oh man, that canning just kind of wiped me out. But it wasn't until 9:30 or so I laid down. So I just saw a woman on a chair being tortured. And I'm right in front of her, and it's like a camera panning out, and then the image pulls away quite far away. And you know how they get real tiny. And I
okay.
asked myself, was that me? The next image was a man being tortured the same way, but there wasn't a pan in and out. It was just a quick image and then gone. That's when I started wondering if that was me. The answer that I got was no, I was doing the torturing. And I'm thinking, great, well, that's just disturbing. So I was applying electric shock therapy to her. I remember her falling to the side in her chair in exhaustion. That was the image that panned out. Two soldiers went and sat her back up again. Her arms are strapped to the chair and legs as well, just her torso slumped over to her left. So as I'm looking at her, she's dropping to the right side. This is in the underground area under the El Paso military base. I get the sense that this was a test after my torture and programming to see if I could carry it out without emotion. They told me that this is what your father did and that it's all in the family. And I want to make my father proud now, don't I?
There we go.
So I wonder if they didn't give him updates or something. So I was very robotic. I don't recall any empathy for those people. I remember the doctor put his hand on my shoulder with approval, and it's just like a soldier standing at attention.
Yeah.
I believe they thought if I could do that, then I could
Yeah.
carry out other missions.
Golly.
And I was limping slightly, but I gave it no mind. This was from the torture that I had gone through. But by that time, I was a different personality and just assumed it was a natural part of me. And so that was the soreness in my leg yesterday and the day before. There was a doctor in training with the main doctor. He remarked to the doctor that he was surprised I was carrying everything out so methodically. The main doctor said, she's a robot. She'll do whatever we say. That's how she's been programmed. So this part's name is robot.
Well, they really were working at creating the Manchurian candidate, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. And here's the funny thing, John. This is the same vibe I get from Chris from time to time. He'll get real stiff and he doesn't want to be touched. He doesn't want to be whatever, just leave him alone. And I do. And it's like I've always known, I don't know how or why, now I do, that how to handle that part of him. And I thought that was interesting. And I said, just as a side note, I've had a bit of a limp all day today. My hip and thigh on the right side are quite stiff. But this is what they do. They torture the person with a program, and that
And I just thought of this when you mentioned that Chris had just referenced or recently or mentioning to you that he had referenced to a coworker about Alan Watts. So, it's interesting that in a
I
way,
can see I've probably seen 5 or 10 different parts of him
right,
now.
that
Yeah.
he's now undergoing, and pardon that use that term,
He's things are surfacing and moving.
right? So you're using Alan's material, so you really are carrying the torch. So now vicariously, Chris is going through that.
Oh,
So
how funny. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. I put this is what they do. They torture the person with a program, and that programming trains you to torture someone else. Now, Chris told me that he underwent an interrogation thing. And he won't admit that he doesn't remember all of it. He'll say that he does, but I think that he got this programming. The doctors get vicarious pleasure watching this process.
these are the Nazi doctors right here.
Yeah, I said it reminds me of beating on Ted a little bit. When you watch them, you get vicarious pleasure seeing someone else beat the snot out of it. Except for us, it's about righteous
There
indignation.
you go.
The
There you
bad
go.
guys deserve it. But for this, it's the sadistic thing.
Yeah.
I said, except in the scenario from the past, it's not a lifeless torso. They train the victim to be the perpetrator,
Right.
literally. That's how I could switch into those killer parts into my 30s. That just made me wonder, because my dad was there torturing people, if that's what he had happened to him, or was he just a torturer? He was being trained to be a or was he being trained to be a torturer? He was there before I was born. He grew up with a satanic mother and father, so surely he would have different splits as well. It's not getting him off the hook at all. Perhaps that's what they meant when they said, this is what your father did as well. Perhaps he was trained to create super soldiers, or whatever you want to call them, or just be an ally somehow in creating freak show killers. who better to practice on but his own children? Perhaps that is the ladder that he was trying to climb. Because I get the vibe that because his mother and father belittled him so much and he just couldn't please them, that he joined the army. And I think the army clued in that he had splits and stuff or whatever, satanic, whatever. And so they're like, because Gray will talk about this and Nathan Reynolds as well, is there's this competition between the family, meaning the cult, and the
Yep.
military with the technology. And they want to see if they can take one from the other. It's like they're competing with each other and infiltrating. And I think my dad decided, oh, well, if I can get recognition and pats on the back in the military, I can still be a perpetrator and say, fuck my parents kind of thing. Look at me. I'm a badass and I don't have to do your shit. I can do this shit kind of thing. So I think maybe that's why he joined the military. Because I don't think his parents, I don't think his bloodline was in the military. I think they were Masons and witches. So anyway, but without finding out that family history, which I don't, I haven't put time into. My father did have a very lifeless, robotic way of speaking and laughing. This act of me torturing other people occurred several times. I remember walking down the hallway when I was finished. I would approach the stairs, and the stairs was like your subconscious moving up and switching personalities. I would approach the stairs and then switch back to the soldier who was on duty. Come on. The stairs was the transition area. I would go through the door and tell the other person that was on duty, thanks for covering me while I went to the bathroom. And that guy was, a plant. Oh, yeah, no problem. And he would walk off. Soon after, I was relieved by another guard and went back to my room. I do remember feeling very heavy going back to my room, and the limp was gone. As I lay down falling asleep, I would have images in my mind. Now, this is then, after going back to my room, going to sleep. I would try to chase them and see what they were. Like I have images now and I can wake up and they fill in. I was trying to do it then, but I couldn't. But I would always I always fell asleep. There's one particular that I remember about a car, and this is always in my consciousness. It's driving down the road, and I know it's very important, but I never get to see the rest of it or where it's going. In the image, I see the headlights coming towards me, not me, but like the road is coming towards me. It's like a car from the 1950s or something. I get the vibe. It's like a bootlegger car. My part is telling me that that's just the cover programming. As soon as I saw the headlights coming towards me, I would go to sleep and become amnesiac. And I was like, wow. So in another part of me that I do not want to think is real, but it is. My neck and shoulders are quite jacked up right now, along with my right outer thigh. That reminds me of when I worked at Best Buy. I used to have a hip problem from time to time that I went to the chiropractor for, except it was a different pain. I said, got to work on TED tomorrow. So time passes. Just as a side note, the pain in my finger has gone away entirely about 24 hours ago. The day after I laid out the timeline in Iowa, it was only mildly sore. I didn't even really notice it, and now it's completely gone. It's funny too, because, and then time passes. It's funny too, because right before this memory came, I was feeling very tired and sleepy again. And I was thinking, it's so early. Why am I sleepy? I forgot to remember that when I get sleepy, it's a memory surfacing.
There we go. There we go.
So now I see a man in a chair convulsing from the electricity, and now another man, a parade of people. And this phrase came while I was hitting Ted this morning. I added it in. I probably should have kept it separate. But I was whacking on Ted, and he said there was a parade of people. Said all of these people have on military uniforms. We are all tools. So they would literally bring somebody in. I would hit the button for the electricity for 10, 15, 20 minutes. A dude would program them and they would get up, walk out, and another person would come in. So in a 2-hour guard shift, you're doing 7, 8 people.
So they're on the receiving end of the electricity.
Yep. So I think it was all the people who did guard duty on a certain day and certain times. And we would do it to each other.
What?
That's why I said all the people have a military uniforms because they're doing guard duty.
Okay, let me ask this, Diana. Um, why do you think they would sit and allow themselves to be subjected to that?
Because they're just like me. They have programming.
You think that many?
And funneled into the military. How else could you get someone that compliant? I mean, they weren't themselves. They were just like robotic. Now, I know I went down there because I let slip what happened. Well, actually, I remembered at the end of this journal, I remembered that the dogman scenario happened after this. And the tortures, because I let slip, happened after that. So they were pulling me down there doing stuff. I'm interacting with dogmen. And plus, I'm letting slip. My front personality is letting slip. And then they torture that to go away. So I'm thinking, well, how could that, unless I've got the scenario reversed or something. But so far, that's the timeline that I have.
But do you think that there are that many MK Ultra people in the military?
My first response was, oh, sure, yeah. I don't know how or why I know that, but yeah. I mean, if they went to all that trouble with all those scenarios in Iowa just to funnel me into the exact branch of the military they wanted, who's to say they're not doing it to tens of thousands of other people, funneling them exactly where they want them to go? Like Nathan Reynolds and Gray talk about how they were put in scenarios where they thought they were a victim. A rescuer comes in, a military team comes in and rescues them, saying, this is what we do for a living, is save children from pedophiles. And so they bond with their rescuer and become a part of that group to discover later on, oh shit, we're part of the problem. That was all set up. So they were both set up to funneled into exactly where they were supposed to go. If who was it that said, oh, Nathan Reynolds, that there's 10 to 30,000 people just east of the Mississippi that are sleeper cells. And those women are soccer moms having babies and children. And so yeah, I do think there's that many, maybe 25% of the military, maybe more, who knows? But how else do you get people like that to go to Abu Ghraib? Remember the girl that was there torturing people? How does a girl get to that state? I can kind of see guys because, guys are taught more vicious things, but that what was always startled me about the Abu Ghraib pictures was the girl. She was like 5'5" in my build.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how could you do that? Well, now I get it. I said it wasn't about interrogation, it was about programming. People were just in and out, perhaps 15 to 20 minutes per person. There was another technician who gave them their programming. I applied the electricity. If I remembered, the car would come and run me over. And so that was probably a kill yourself situation And so I would go to sleep instead of slicing my arms up or something. Because the army doesn't want you marked up. I never got that conscious training, but Chris told me that was a big deal for them. You cannot get tattoos, you can't brand yourself, you can't do anything because they don't want you to be identifiable. Said before all of this recall began, I was having a parts puddle. Usually I go and hug everybody, either individually or in a big group, except this time they all came and hugged me. My heart really opened up a lot. And I remember that someone came and held my hand. I didn't know who that was. I realize now that that was Robot. He wanted to join in. It was the only thing he knew how to do because he's so closed off emotionally. And I said, welcome, Robot. Let's think of a new name for you and new clothes. And he just went like that. Okay.
Okay.
Julie is going to show him his new place to live. She will spend the night near him. He's going to lay down now. So he is so ashamed. I'm telling him that he has no need to feel ashamed. He was made to do those things. And he started crying. And I was holding his hand. He does not like to be touched. He's okay if I hold his hand. See, Chris is very similar, very similar.
Uh-huh.
Said, I will hold your hand all night and you can cry as much as you want to. He wants to know where he is. I told him that he's in Lake City. Now usually I'll say, open your, look through my eyes, but for some reason it's like, no, he feels safe here. We'll stay here. He's looking at the window and at the waterfall and the lake. I told him that he never has to go back to that room or that hallway or stairwell again. Julie just brought him a sandwich and a glass of water. He thinks that God is going to hate him forever.
Yeah.
I'm letting him know that God loves him. God knows what happened to him and God knows his true heart. Whenever he's ready, he can talk to him. He said he just wants to look out the window for a while. Just looking, taking it in, but not really feeling anything. He wants to know if I'll just hold his hand for a while he sits here. And I told him yes. He got up, still holding my hand, and walked over to the window. He looked out for a while and then turned, walked out of the cabin down to the water. He let go of my hand and walked in. He just walked in like a robot until it covered his head and then walked back out. Now he's walking out again. Julie brought him a white robe. He put it on, took my hand again, and is walking back to his room. Just very robotic, but he knew that's what he wanted to do. He seems a little more relaxed. He's eating his sandwich and drinking a glass of water. He has some tears coming out of his eyes, but he's very silent. I can sense that he's becoming very angry.
That's good.
I'm telling him about Ted and that we can work all of that out in the morning. He nodded again.
Okay.
We were just sitting looking at the window holding hands. He's very tall and strong. He reminds me a lot of Chris.
Oh, there we go.
They have many things in common. He just ate the entire sandwich and then he drank the whole glass of water at once. He looked at me and started chuckling. He said, I will never go back to that room or that hallway or stairwell again. I said, good. He said, he's going to tear up Ted. I said, good.
Good.
He said, this is a good place. I said, yes. He squeezed my hand this time. He wants to go lay down and rest a while and rest without that stupid car coming at him. I told him, no, the car will never come back again. As a matter of fact, he wants to take a grenade launcher to that car. I told him to have at it. So he's standing in front of the car as it's driving towards him. He's got the grenade launcher on his shoulder, just waiting for the right moment, just like Chris would do. The car is about 100 feet away and he pulls the trigger. The car flies up into the air and blows into a million little pieces. He's laughing and laughing. He says, good, now I'm going to go to sleep and wake up at Lake City. Then you're going to show me your house. I said, okay, will do. And I think because so many parts have had that experience, he knows it's a part of the process. So I didn't even have to offer anything. He just knew You go in the water, you come out. You change your clothes. It was like a process he knows that they all went through. And he just did it automatically like a robot. Said, okay, we'll do it. It just occurred to him, I want to blow up the rooms in the hallway and the stairwell.
Okay.
It's always a dictation thing. I said, have at it. He's walking from the room, leaving a grenade behind him, not even looking back, like you'd see in a movie. The
Okay.
room blows up. He doesn't even turn back. He keeps walking down the hallway, tosses 3 grenades behind him as he's walking in. Boom, then a boom, then a boom, not even looking back. He's
There you go.
walking up the stairwell. When he gets to the top, he drops 3 more, blown up to smithereens. He says, that's cool.
Oh, that's good.
And now he's back in his room in his white robe. He's got just a bit of a smile on his face. And when I dictated that, he got a
Oh,
really big smile. I said, good night, robot. He says, well, because I was asking him about a new name. He wanted it to be Rudolph. And I said, well, you remember what John said about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? And he went, oh. He says, well, if Rudolph doesn't work, how about Rudy? I said, Rudy it is.
there you go.
He says, because I'm going to be one rude motherfucker.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Yep. Good.
I said, sounds good to me. So he's got a new name, new clothes, and he has blown up his prison. He says he likes his new digs.
Oh,
I
that's
said, good. Good night, Rudy. Good night. See you in the morning. Indeed. He says when he works on Ted, he's going to smash that motherfucker
good.
wide open.
Good.
I
Good.
said, good.
There we
He
go.
just squeezed my hand and gave me a little A-frame hug. Chris will do that
Yeah.
too.
Okay. That's funny.
He says he's 6'4", 180 pounds, and an unstoppable force. Those are Chris's dimensions. And Chris says that all the time about his, military stuff. That it's an unstoppable force. So I think that's part of the programming, that you're programmed to be this tall and big and lean, mean fighting machine and unstoppable force. I told him I believe it. He said that's what they programmed him with. I told him in the morning that I would show him what we look like today at 59 years old and in the year 2024. He says, okay.
Yeah.
So as I'm drifting off to sleep again, I said, now I'm getting images of aliens
Oh,
sitting
you
there.
get Diana, you get no break.
I know, aliens sitting in their spacecraft talking to me. And he says, which is an overlay for the doctor giving me my programming. That's what Robot told me. He says, now I'm seeing a cartoon of a monkey flying around Egypt, around a pyramid and the Sphinx. He says, that doctor is mocking me. He's mocking me. He says,
Yeah, describe that again. What, he's just showing you this? Meaning the doctor is
this is
mocking you?
part of
What?
their programming. To let him know that you're just a monkey. We can do anything we want with you. You're a tool. If we want you to fly around the pyramids and the Sphinx, we'll make you do it. Because you're just a monkey. Something along those lines. I said, now. And so I think this is like 3 levels of programming or something, because all 3 of them happened, one right after the other. And this is as robots falling asleep, right? And I'm falling asleep, but I wake up and robots telling me what I'm seeing. I said, now I just saw a 4-inch worm come out of a man's belly button. And then it dropped down into a pouch about 4 inches below the belly button, kind of like a kangaroo pouch, except it's a human. And then it went back inside him.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, wow, I don't know what the fuck that is or what that means. I'm sure it's some programming. Well, if it tries to come out, you're going to go right back in. That was the vibe I got. I'm like, okay. So I finally fell asleep. So after I woke up this morning, I had Rudy walk through the house with me as I opened up the curtains and got the coffee and tea ready. He came outside and watered with me and looked around everywhere. He said, this place will do. Rudy had his time on Ted. He was quiet like Chris is on Ted at first. Then he just started talking to it. It's like, fuck you, fuck you. He was
Good.
just like that. Then he yelled at it 3 times. He likes to get right up in his face,
Okay.
nose to
Okay.
nose, and look it in the eye and tell Ted, and he said, it's over. It's done. He beat the snot out of that thing with very powerful blows. I mean, he moved his body like I've never done that before. You said I had powerful blows already.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
were more. It was like Chris doing it. I was like, wow. He liked doing it. After that, we took a shower. I asked Jesus if he could make the shower water baptismal water, and
There
Jesus
you go.
did. Rudy started crying. He's not robot anymore, he's Rudy. Then Rudy raised his hands to the sky, and literally I was, and asked for forgiveness. Jesus
Uh,
forgave him. Jesus told him that that's why he died on the cross for Rudy. They talked for a while. Jesus had Rudy stand under the waterfall. Rudy started to wake up and come alive.
there we go.
Right now, I don't recall what he and Jesus said, but Rudy feels a lot better. After the shower, standing in the mirror brushing my hair, he showed me that they also took him outside to throw grenades. He said they were checking their programming because in basic training, I had such an aversion for it. I should say Gemma. Gemma had such an aversion for it. They wanted to make sure that now I did not. That's where the dog-like creatures outside, that's where I saw the dog-like creatures outside.
Oh,
I was blowing up a few of them. So they must have been the defects or something. Rudy just saw them as dots on a map. That's all they were. I kept wondering why he wanted to use grenades to blow up that place, and now I know why. And that's when I realized, okay, well, this came before Geraldine, who was Dogman, because when I charted their emotional impact right before you and I got on, Geraldine's at a -5. Remember I said I didn't feel it wasn't painful. I didn't feel much. Well, that's because they had trained Rudy to feel nothing
yeah.
and to condition and to already see these dogmen. So it wasn't quite so shocking. It was like a little bit of conditioning. And then, and that's when I started to look at the timeline and go, well, was the waterboarding and the electrocution, when did I let slip? And they're like, no, when you got to El Paso and started your first guard duty, that's when all of this started. They were priming a pump, and something wasn't right because I let that slip about the circus and the castle. And that's when they realized, well, shit, we need to do something more extreme. So I had to have been in that chair receiving the torture first and then applying it to other and actually right now as I'm talking, I think that's how it went. I'd go down for guard duty and I think that every 15 or 20 minutes, a new person thought they were starting guard duty, and we'd all be led downstairs, and we'd have our 15 minutes of shock, and then go back upstairs, think our guard duty was done, and go back to bed because there was this parade of soldiers. Now, after you get 3 or 4 or 5 of those, then you switch position and you go down there for 2 hours, and you're the one applying the torture. And so there's this rotation of 6 or 8 people either receiving or giving electrocution to the same group of people. And just this, are you going to listen? Or are you going to follow orders? Are you going to do what we want kind of thing? And what's mind blowing is that, geez, when I was in Germany, I was in a trucker company, and I can't remember the company that I was in El Paso, what they did, because I was a cook. I just did my cook thing. But why I can't remember what El Paso specialized in or what company I was in, I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting, huh? Because that talk about basic information for somebody to remember.
I know, and I think whenever I asked or inquired, it didn't make sense to me. I'm thinking, what is that? So I think they specialized in programming there because Germany was about SRA and sex stuff. El Paso is about MK Ultra stuff. And remember, through my life, it's always SRA first, then MK Ultra,
That's right.
SRA, then MK Ultra. And they were trying to get me to re-enlist, and I just wouldn't do it. It's like the rebel part of me that was born when I was 4, trying to get mom to wake up, was just no, 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 no. We're getting out, we're getting out, we're getting out. And I think that's what they were trying to reprogram me. Maybe all of us, maybe that's what that parade of people was about, is trying to get us to reenlist and continue our programming and use us for whatever.
And geographically, I'm going to bring this up. Let me do this. I got a El Paso.
It's right on the border with Mexico.
See that? Then that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe they're working with the child trafficking and bringing people across.
100%. That's what they're doing.
Because you could drive on a
So
road
see
and
that
look across
that's okay. Now
and
I'm looking at the map.
and see the Rio Grande and the wall and the fence on our side and all that. But yeah, Mexico's literally 5 minutes away.
Okay, so
And
that's how they.
I never even twigged on that until you mentioned it right now, but I'm
And
sure that was a part of a trafficking situation.
that's where all the missing kids have gone.
And maybe that's where the tunnels, led in and out of Mexico.
That Diana, that's where, what, 85,000 missing kids and stuff.
Hmm.
That you're talking about, they're blowing people, they're blowing kids up, they're using them they're just cannon fodder.
Yeah, that was in Wisconsin. Yeah, when I was
But right
littler. But
there, I
yeah,
mean,
if they're gonna do it up there, they're gonna do it in El Paso.
talk about a port of entry. They're just bringing these kids in.
Yeah, I never even twigged on that, but yeah, El Paso is right there on
That's it. So they
right
funnel
on
all these
Mexico.
kids
Yeah. And so
right
they
up
would
to,
have by then the CIA and the mafia are interconnected.
yeah.
And so if the mafia in the US is working with them, I'm sure the mafia in Mexico is as well.
You wonder if any major courier, where's FedEx? No, I mean, I forget where these,
Um,
but I mean, if you're going to fly them around or you're going to, I wonder what kind of terminal is in El Paso.
you mean to cross the border?
No, I'm sorry, like moving cargo,
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
certainly by trains, but then you risk
Maybe
it
I
getting
should
on.
look that up. What does Fort Bliss specialize in?
But it's so Fort Bliss. Oh
Fort
gosh.
Bliss
Um,
you.
what's my thing here? So like FedEx, where's FedEx? That's in
FedEx is everywhere.
yeah, not but
So is UPS.
see that's what I wonder.
It says it's the largest installation in FORSCOM, which is United States Army Forces Command, and second largest in the Army overall.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh, and I'm near White Sands Missile Range. The largest is White Sands. And look, it's only a population of 9,000 people. It's
Yeah,
a
see
small
that.
town that you can control.
So the whole and that means the entire town
It
is military.
says used for missile and artillery training and testing. 992,000 acres, boasts the largest maneuver area ahead of the National Training Center. The garrison ranging in the boundary units. First Armored Division, so explosives. Joint Task Force. Um, It facilitates DoD training in the U.S. Northern Command, 32nd Army Air and Missile Defense. So it's a big deal. I guess they're all big deals, but I never thought about what they do. First Armored Division, deploy, conduct decisive, sustainable land operations.
Oh, I just thought of something. Remember when
Hmm.
Bush signed the NAFTA? They were
Yeah.
they were going to do a super highway.
Oh, yeah. I think that's still on the books to get
Is it to go
done.
right through El Paso?
Oh, well, I think it's supposed to go. I don't know where it starts, but I know that it was going to go near Dallas. Now, Fort Bliss is on the far west tip, and Dallas is in the center, and Texas is pretty large. So,
Yeah, here's
but
the
it would be, I mean, hop, skip, and a jump just to get onto the super highway if it wasn't starting there.
it's here's I just brought El
'Cause El
Paso,
Paso's not really a port.
Texas Freight Mobility Plan. The border crossings in El Paso district account for 20% of daily truck volume and 17% of all rail traffic
Oh,
between Texas and Mexico.
I'll bet you then, yeah, maybe it would start there because the Rio Grande is just right there.
Premier Logistics Service El Paso border truck line grows SCPS bridge. Okay. U.S. company hoping to build cargo shuttle at port of entry.
Huh. Yeah, so maybe that has something to do with that.
Right. Okay.
But this,
Unbelievable. This whole thing's
yeah,
unbelievable, Diana.
yeah, this picture was
Yeah,
I put in there, emotionless soldier.
there we go.
And this was the picture that came up. And there was a picture of like, 8 or 12 of them, all with this same robotic attitude. And then for her, I picked awakening woman.
That's good.
Because he says, "Oh, we're a woman." And I said, "Yeah, I'm a woman."
See, that's what's so heinous about this trans crap.
Hmm.
That's why it just
He
infuriates.
identified as a man.
Yeah. And so they
I
take these.
believe he was programmed to be a 6'4",
That's right.
180-pound, unstoppable force.
There you go. And so you're
Because
taking the,
Chris has the exact same words.
I would say, so you're taking these victims of sexual abuse and they have male parts. And so these doctors are making profits off of these. And then the female part comes back out, realizes, where'd my breast go? It's just so sick.
Well, and the thing too is I was listening to Gray. He was on the same podcast that you were on. I was like, oh my God, look, there's John and there's Gray. Let me watch, because I had already seen yours. I think it was, I can't, Awake the Dead. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I watched Gray's, and he was talking about, they were talking about right brain, left brain.
Yeah.
And when you're very, very young and they do those splits, it physiologically stops the communication between the right brain, left brain.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
Ray happened to mention, he said, and it literally, when you split, because you've got the different hemispheres, he said it'll literally split you male to female as well. And when he said that, I realized he's got female parts that he recognizes. I've got male parts that I recognize.
That's right.
Because when I was in that training camp and I kept thinking, well, girls don't do this, boys do this, the killing training stuff. So that's why I identified as a boy when I did all that stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes at home for a couple of years there, I was quite a tomboy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's intentional. And they might even, I think with this programming later in my life when I'm like 20, I think they told me, I'm a man, you're 6'4", 180 pounds, an unstoppable force.
I just thought of something, Diana. Sorry, it's unrelated,
Yeah.
but very related.
But yeah.
The primary perp that I'm having to deal with, he has military intelligence background, and he's part of the LGBT. So here I'm out there starting to connect dots. And before I know it, they've recruited about 10 people to do this massive slime campaign online. He has military background.
Well, you know that they know what you're doing in your
Of
video
course.
before. Okay, so they're going to counter it before you even
But
air
isn't
it.
that interesting? I hadn't put it two and two together because this guy has military background.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, Gray and the guy from Wake the Dead were talking about, and I already knew this, how Jim Morrison and Madonna's fathers were both in military intelligence. I think Jim Morrison's was naval intelligence.
Oh,
And
and he's got on his page a white rabbit. Were you the one to show me that?
no.
He references
Who?
this Matt Osborne. Okay, so
Oh,
behind the scenes, all this crap, all the perps that have done these stories. So Matt Osborne has military background, and he has this.
a white rabbit, like in the Matrix movies. Follow
Yeah,
the white rabbit. Remember
that's what
that?
I'm telling you. So very interesting.
And the white rat, isn't there a white rabbit in Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, that's a a signal or
yeah.
whatever you call
Okay,
it.
I got you. I got you. It helps to know
Um,
one's enemies. Okay.
and here's what's funny. Chris has a buddy that used to work in IT and I think he was contractor or something, but they became friends because he was ex-Navy, but he was ex-Navy intelligence. Well, he left, went to work for a cable company, and he'll call Chris about once a month or something, and they'll chit chat, usually while they're both drinking. And it was when I was first starting to work with you and remembering the SRA, and Chris put me on the phone with him, on speaker. And I was telling him, I said, well, I said I was sexually abused by my father, and there was, see, I don't know if I said SRA or not. Maybe it was right before I started working with you. And you know what? The first thing popped out of his mouth, he goes, MK Ultra? And I go, no, none of that. Because at the time I didn't recall it. And that twigged on that last night. I went, that's right. So and so said, and he was in naval intelligence.
There we go.
He was a guy that used to go to some small town in the Middle East in civilian clothes and get to know the people and set up stuff and report intelligence back. So yeah, naval intelligence, I think, was it Gray talking about it, is like one of the premier intelligence agency, the naval one. So
Hmm, okay.
anyway, yeah. So here's Robot and here's Rudy. She's still a little robot-like, but it was their eyes that got me. His are kind of dead and hers are waking up.
There you go.
So anyway, put her on all my stuff and all that, and she's happy to be a part of us now. So just thought I'd
Wow.
show you them. And she's beautiful.
Tell you,
And
what an amazing
oh yeah,
experience that you're cataloging everything, Diana.
here's
And
the
even the
graph.
transformation, the debriefing or deprogramming, right? Where all of a sudden Rudy had no emotions, and especially for a female. Now she's beginning to come back. She's recapturing her life. I
Yeah,
talk about identity.
I
She,
know.
yeah,
Because I asked him, I said, you sure you want a picture of a woman? And he's like, yeah, you're a woman. So that means I'm a woman. And I went, okay. It was the first time I had a part shift genders. So that was interesting. But I put Rudy on the map here.
yeah, it
Oh,
helps.
I don't know if oh yeah, I did tell you that how Rudy.
As an
Oh
aside,
yeah, Geraldine's a -5 because Rudy was -6. Rudy had already numbed out, so Geraldine wasn't quite so freaked out.
well, let me ask you a question because this is sort of interesting. So, do you think, I mean, now that we're connecting dots as far as the military and how deep this thing runs, um, why else would there be a push to have transgender stuff in the military?
Oh,
So
geez.
is that sort of like a hand signal or meaning where these young kids are going to go and they've already been through this programming and so now they go right in there. Now they've identified the,
Well, sure. I mean, when I was in basic training, I didn't even know. Well, it was AIT, the next training thing after basic. They're training us to be a cook. And the girl that bunked above me, we were friends and we went out to a party together when we finally had a weekend, leave. And we were out by the pool sitting there talking, I think drinking or smoking a joint or something. And she made a pass at me. And I was like, and I remember trying it and going, no. And I said, no, thank you. I don't go that way because my sex slave parts were always girls. Well, mostly girls. And so, and from that moment on, I was uncomfortable because not because she was gay, but because I knew she wanted me sleeping above me for another week or two till we
oh,
got out of
oh,
there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, even back in 1983, a gay girl joined the army. And the army's just going to hone that lesbian dyke business. I mean, she wasn't like a butch dyke or anything, but yeah, I think that parts like that might gravitate towards the military, and then put them in the little rotation thing, MK Ultra, like I was in, we're all shocking each other and doing shit. And God knows each of us had our own individualized, programming in our ears or eyes or whatever.
And I just thought also then there's a whole push among deviant sexologists to get out there to normalize getting survivors involved in kink or BDSM. So what's BDSM? It's just MK Ultra stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. What is kink?
It's just another term for whips and chains and all that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so it's
Yeah, and
starting
the
to
dog collars and the chain
see, look at
and that
oh,
shit.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all starting to make sense now.
It is. Yeah. I mean,
Oh gosh.
I just can't even comprehend the amount of people that are programmed. I mean, even what you would call normal people are getting programmed through television, you
Yeah,
know.
50 Shades of Grey. Everybody now they call it entertainment now.
Yeah, yeah. And I love Judith Reisman's breakdown of that book, how, they made the girl out like with these childlike qualities when a woman that age would never have those types of behaviors or thoughts. That was mind blowing when I read that. I was like, oh, and I've never seen the movie and I never plan to.
I haven't either heard
But
about it. I spoke about it once I figured out the concept. I do
yeah,
remember the inmates talking about that it's
yeah. I mean,
permanent
so
program.
that's the normal population. And you've got the SRA people who are already there. All you got to do is turn them on, and then put MK Ultra on top of that. There's got to be just tens of millions, because the whole population of the US is what, 330,000 or 330 million? A lot of people. It's a lot of people,
We got our work cut out for us, huh?
for sure. Yeah. I just don't even know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, other than this new part popping up, things have been pretty quiet. You know,
Other than other than the
it
fact.
wasn't, I guess because I've been doing that prayer every morning and every
Oh,
evening,
oh wow.
and it asks Jesus to, reveal to me anything or everything that you want me to know. But if you could buffer the emotions so that I'm not traumatized again in remembering it, that'd be
Mhm.
great. So that's part of the prayer. And I was like, but this one I think Jesus buffered it a bit, but also that because Robot was so emotionless,
Yeah.
it wasn't so, well, I don't know. They're
And
all
Diana, I'm
shocked.
sorry, do you want to go back? Let's look at the chart again.
They're
So
all shocking. Which one? The
as you were just
rat?
showing the emotional impact. Sorry.
Oh,
Today's been connecting a lot of dots, and it's like, okay, this makes more sense. Why
oh, is that what I wanted to do? Not really. Okay. But here we go. I don't know what you want to see. I guess we'll just cover up that part there. But yeah, it always seems, SRA first, and then MK Ultra, train SRA, MK Ultra, SRA, MK, SRA, and then it stopped. But I guess I think the thing I'm still trying to digest the most is that I'm wondering if at each of my jobs I wasn't accessed. And that's why I have a part name for each job I was at. Because I keep thinking about these parts that I have, and people say 178 parts. It's not 178. Well, why is your animal a part? Well, because I learned something from that animal that was important to me and I retain it.
yeah, no, that's fair.
And but also like I have a part that, like plant. There's no trauma to create plant. But she exists because I had to learn and make mistakes and I had to keep remembering. And it was that part of me that
Mhm.
retained the information and learned the lessons. And now she's integrates with the organizer so that we have a routine and et cetera, et cetera. Because I kept thinking, well, if anybody asked me, well, okay, let's say 150 of these are real parts because there was trauma attached. Why are these other ones here? And it got me thinking, well, if they accessed me while I was at Best Buy, why wouldn't they have accessed me at TCBY, Blockbuster Video, everything after the Army?
Well, and also the you know,
And had, Finnegan go out and
okay,
kill.
there you go. Right. And my response also would be,
I'm gonna stop this for just a moment. So it's 12:20. I don't know where you're at for
okay, yeah, I guess
time.
I always enjoy our time.
I know, I do too. Thank you.
You're such a you're doing a wonderful job, Dana. So let
Thanks.
me pray, and then yeah,
Okay.
by this evening, I'll send over a couple of videos
Okay,
for you
good.
about the
I'll watch them.
archaeology and the historical preservation of the text.
Cool. Thank you.
I thank you again for allowing Diana and I to work together and to meet and to talk together. And first of all, Lord, thank you for preserving her life and preserving all of them. Just what a
Miracle.
hellacious thing that they went through. And Lord, thank you for the ability to block things out. But also thank you that little by little, the memories are being recovered and the different parts are coming forward. And Lord, we do pray, just like Diana prayed, Lord, just buffer what can be buffered so that she can get the information and be able to still move forward. Lord, thank you that we know that you're going to be using her. You don't do this for someone as far as helping them get their life back and get their memories back when you don't, without a plan to use those. So, in whatever way, or just continue to give her a sense that even during those afternoons and evenings where she might wonder why am I doing this? I would thank you that she's being faithful. She's putting the material out there. Direct those survivors and others, but direct those survivors to her channel that need the information so that they themselves can be set free and they can understand the process, or that they can benefit from Diana's effort, the hours that she's put in, so she can serve, her work can serve as the template so that people can understand how to go through this, how to be healed, how to begin to work cooperatively and collectively on the inside. I'll continue your work in Chris. Lord, it's amazing to think what happens in the military. And so whatever has happened to him, both whatever he was subjected to in battle, as well as any kind of training, Lord, little by little, just continue to bring those things to his mind to unlock things. Lord, thank you that you arranged for Diana and Chris to meet. And so we'll trust as you continue the healing process for Diana and you continue to work on Chris, that collectively there's going to be something very strategic for them to do as a couple. So we'll trust that you're going to reveal that to them in the days to come. Or continue to protect them, protect their home, put your strong angels round about them, and just continue to be with her as she does, not just the venting, so bring truth up so that healing can happen. Lord, as she is still continuing to try to really hone and get down to the granular level, all this very difficult work, or be with them, give them insight, help their neurons to connect so that they can really get a sense of the flow of all this, the timeline. So Lord, thank you that you are dedicated to leading us to all truth. So thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. All right. Well,
Okay, well, good work, and we'll
yeah,
plan
you
next week.
too. Thank you. And God put his strong angels around you and Susan so that you can blow all those evil guys off of you and you can
Yeah,
get down
get
to the
back to
work you
doing what.
want to do.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much. That's right. But that was important insight. I think this Matt Osborne talk about controlled opposition. He said, but willing. He's willing. So it makes sense. I think he's part of the
Well, the
military.
only thing I kept thinking is that you're on the target and that's why you're under
Yeah.
attack.
Well, I'm going to double down once I finally get this darn video out.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I'm going to unleash on them.
Okay, good.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, no, I'm just so
All
okay.
right. Well, have
Oh,
a good weekend. It's a
thank
holiday
you. Thank
weekend
you.
too. I guess
Oh yeah,
a pagan holiday, but we got 3 days off. So,
we'll take it.
okay.
Okay, there you
God
go.
bless you, John. Thank
Thank you. We'll
you.
talk to you next week.
Okay. Bye.